when it comes down to getting kids recruited, first it starts with the relationship that you have to build with the college coaches. And so I pride myself on making contact with as many college coaches as possible. And it doesn't have to be a Power Four. It could be a Division III coach. The more relationships you build, the better it is for the kids that you coach. And so I pride myself on getting to know all these coaches and just letting them know that hey, we have kids here in Jacksonville that can play on all levels.
Yeah. First, let's talk about your current player, Mason Ball, who sent an official visit to Arkansas, got visits to other schools, had a bunch of offers, did put the Hogs in his group of official visits. He's a running back for anyone that doesn't know. Talk about Mason Ball and what he brings to your team and what you think he can do at the next level, Reggie.
Well, Mason Ball's a gym rat. Like right now, I'm up here in my office and for my young kid 707 and like Mason just shows up. He shows up, goes over there and works out when nobody is looking. Every time I'm here, he doesn't know I'm here. He just drives by and sees my car. And if he sees me here, he comes in and gets in extra work or comes in and watch film. He's an old school, different kind of kid. And I can tell you this, whoever gets that kid is getting somebody who's going to be loyal. He's not looking to go somewhere and go in the portal. He is a kid that wants to build a relationship with the coaching staff. It's not so much for him, the logo on the helmet. It's more so about, who he has a close bond with. And so he's a great kid. He works hard, smart in the classroom. And I'm so proud of that kid because, I've coached him since he was 5 years old. And so I've coached him every year of his football life except for maybe 2 years. And so I would say I know this kid, and I'm super, super proud of him. I love him to death, and I can't wait to see what happens for him. He's going to make his decision July 3rd, and so he has 4 visits right now set up to Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, and Carolina. And so it's my belief that it's going to be one of those schools.
Talk about the job that Coach Johnson and Coach Silverfield have done for Arkansas, since we're kind of an Arkansas state. Talk about the job they've done recruiting Mason and everything. And
Well, when Silverfield first got hired, I made contact with him about Mason, and I let him know that the old regime had offered him and was really recruiting him hard, and if that would be the same thing here. And of course, he said yes. And then Coach Johnson, who goes by Coach Yak, he's a
mm-hmm.
running back coach, and so he made contact with me, and we talked for a long time, and we kind of went up there and sat down with him, and they love Mason's demeanor. They love his size. He's 6'2", running back. He ended last season weighing 184. Now he's 197. So he's picked up weight in the off season and weights. And so Arkansas has done a great job of recruiting this kid. And so Mason comes in every day and tells me who's calling him or who's texting him. And always in that conversation, Coach Yak is in that conversation.
Okay, and then how quickly do you think he could make an? Obviously, it depends on where he goes, and what kind of depth they have. But how quickly do you think he can make an impact at the Power Four level?
Excuse me. Well, he's a right now kid. He's a different kind of kid. He's very strong, very powerful, very fast. Has good hands. He'll be a kid wherever he goes. I think he'll be one of the freshmen who could play right now. Let me tell you what's beautiful about this kid and how a lot of schools missed out. This kid has 0 stars. He has no stars. Yet he has 13 offers and 8 of them are Power Four offers. And so, I believe wherever he goes, he'll be an impact player right away, whether it be at running back or receiver. But what people don't know is he's also a dominant linebacker. I just had to kind of remove him some last year because he was tired. He only knows one speed, full speed. So going full speed at running back, then full speed at linebacker. I mean, coming out of halftime, he was dead tired. So we took him from linebacker and put him at safety for most of the year, and that was able to give him some relief. But he's very physical.
Okay, and then I think Arkansas probably got the biggest steal of the recruiting season. If you're talking about non-scholars, when they got Kevin Young Jr. from Forest City, a running back who you coached for 1 year, and I know you helped. get school. You got a lot of schools, Arkansas and others, very interested in him, and then he took it and ran with it, and ended up he's walking on to Arkansas, preferred walk on. I think he's the steal of the year. I've had 3 or 4 coaches tell me he's the best running back in the state. High school coaches, and so tell me what do you think about Kevin Young Jr.? I know we've talked about that, and I ran a story on Pig Trail Nation, but in the Fourth C paper. But talk about what you think about Kevin Young Jr. and the impact he can make in college.
I love Kevin. From the day I got to coach him in Forest City, I love that kid. He's a very mature kid. He's not your average 18-year-old kid. Kevin is beyond his years and maturity wise. And he was already built like a power four running back. You got to see his
Mhm.
legs. I mean, he was squatting 550 and he was benching 325 as a junior. He ran a 4.4 in the 40-yard dash at Arkansas Tech, and I took him there a couple summers ago. Kevin is a guy that Arkansas got an absolute steal. And if Arkansas gives him a legit chance to play, I think he'll surprise a lot of people. I told people he was the best running back in the class of 26. And when I was at Forest City, Vanderbilt, Purdue, Arkansas, Kansas State, and Missouri had all offered this kid. And for some reason, when I left Forest City, the motion stopped. And so I kept fighting for the kid. And even February the 1st, he had committed to Henderson State. And they were getting a huge deal in getting him. And so I made contact with the Razorbacks, I think on February 2nd. I talked to Coach Yak. I said, Coach Yak, I said, listen, there's a kid in Forest City that everybody overlooked. And if y'all can get this kid, then get the kid. And so what happened with that is they watched his film from this past season and they loved it. But they wanted to see him more at the running back position and not so much as the Wildcat. So I
Right.
had them to watch the video of his junior year when I coached him. And Coach Yak called me back and we talked about it. And he said, hey, man, this is the kid that we want. So he said, but we can't give him a full ride. We can take care of his books, his schooling, and his meals, and he'll take care of the housing. And so I called Kevin and we, made connection. I said, hey, Kevin, the Razorbacks want you, man. And he loved it. But I said, first thing first, if you're going to make that move, you got to call Henderson State back and let them know this because you got to do it the right way. And so he was able to call Henderson State running back coach, who was Logan Moraney, and told him, "Hey, listen, I love y'all, I appreciate y'all, but Arkansas wants me up there, and I want to take my chance and go big time." And so they understood, and so we then got Coach Yak back on the phone, and I said, "Coach Yak, I said Kevin Young got something he want to say to you," and Kevin said, "Coach Yak, I want to be a pig," and that's how the conversation went. And I was just so happy because this kid deserves it. He deserves it. And if they give him a legit shot up there, a real
Right.
shot, yeah, Kevin to play.
Some teams, some people, not necessarily teams, but some people were worried about his height. But I don't, with his height and weight combination, I don't see that as an issue. I don't think you do either, right?
What's the deal with being 5'10", 220?
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know, there's not much difference in 5'10" and 6 foot, and that's what happened. A lot of those Power Four schools say that they wanted him to be 6 feet to 6'1", and I'm like, but he's 5'10", probably almost 5'11", runs a 4.4, benches and squats more than half the kids y'all recruiting. Like, we're talking about a matter of 2 inches. But look at a kid like that played at Kansas State, like Deuce Vaughn, who was a powerful running back at 5'6", 170 at Kansas State. And I think sometimes these schools go by that chart too much. You can't measure heart. And Kevin has a lot of heart and drive and determination. I'm proud of that kid.
yeah, he has a lot of heart and determination, but he has a lot of talent. Somehow that's gotten lost in the last year or so. But the kid's got a lot of talent, and I agree with you on that. He should have a good impact, particularly if he gets a strong chance at Arkansas. You know, what just
And also, Kevin could be your kick return guy. He's a
Mhm.
really good kick returner. And he has great vision. He can judge kicks, and he has really good hands. So he could be your motion guy, your jet sweep guy. Like he's a kid that can do multiple things. He's not just a running back.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's something else that can help both those kids, Mason and Kevin, down the road is their versatility?
Yeah, yeah. Both of them can do multiple things, and Let me tell you what's sweet about this. At one point in time, when I was in Forest City, Mason Ball had transferred to Forest City. So I
Yeah.
had Mason Ball and Kevin in my backfield at the same time before I left and came to Jacksonville. So imagine both those guys being in Class 4A together. Forest City would have been probably a state title contender this past season with both those guys in the backfield. So those guys know each other well. They talk on the phone, and I think they both will be impact players from day one.
I remember when you had Mason for a few days, few weeks, whatever it was, and I'm thinking, man, Reggie's loading up over there. So yeah, I knew that, but I know you went to Jacksonville and Mason went back there, so that all changed. But yeah, that would have been a heck of a chance for you there at Forest City with that pair because there's
Yeah,
few better. Just in general, Coach Silverfield is offered now. He offered the Frazier kid from Rogers this weekend. That's 11 offers from the state of Arkansas for the class of 2027. That's a lot more than Arkansas had been offering. What's your thoughts on that, Reggie?
you have to take care of home first.
Mhm.
And I won't say a name, but that was a coach on last year's staff who I talked to. And when I asked him, I said, "Why don't you guys recruit Arkansas more?" And this is what was told to me. He said, "A four-star kid in Arkansas is really a two-star kid in Texas. So if we're going to get a two-star kid, we may as well get a two-star kid in Texas that goes against four-star kids in Texas." And I'm thinking to myself, that's not it, because when Coach Nutt was here, he recruited from Arkansas, and that's when Arkansas had some of the best years. When Coach Nutt was at Murray State, when he was dominating in Murray State, the best years he had 17 kids from where? From Arkansas. So Arkansas has talent, and I get so tired of people overlooking us as if we're just a state without good coaching and good talent. We have talent here, and so the fact that Silverfield is recruiting Arkansas, I love it.
Right, 100% agree with what you said. Yeah, you and Mike Cherry and a few others up there at Murray State, you guys kicked some rear, man. I remember that. My son was a senior in high school at the time, one of my sons, and he was following you guys. He ended up walking on to Arkansas, but yeah, but just for so you see this staff having a chance to be successful inside the state of Arkansas, then.
Well, because you're getting guys that got Razorback pride.
Mhm.
You look at a kid like Quincy Rhodes Jr. Quincy Rhodes Jr. Um, um, played for me when he was 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. Then played 707 for me. Since Quincy was a little boy, he's dreamed about being a Razorback. That's all he ever talked about. Uh, man, Ja'Cory Smith up there now. Ja'Cory Smith was an OU commit, but he was only an OU commit because he wasn't fond of the Razorback staff. Now where is he? He's a Razorback now. And so when you got kids from Arkansas that want to be Razorbacks, that are good enough to be Razorbacks, you can't go seeking kids from Texas and Florida who's coming here to get better film to go in the portal. You got to have kids that want to be here, want to be a Razorback, and I told this story last week on the podcast. Like, I was a kid that grew up wanting to be nothing but a Razorback. I don't care who offered me back then. I wanted to be a hog. And that's what I was going to do until I didn't pass the ACT test in time. I was going to be a Razorback. And I still have dreams of putting that helmet on my head and coming out at 8. That's a dream of mine. So I can imagine for these young kids now, that's probably a dream of theirs. And for the coaching staff to go and tell them that we'd rather have a kid from Texas, it's a slap in the face. And that's why the kids didn't come. And those kids, they talk. So if you don't want my friend, you don't want me. And we're both good enough. So the fact that Silverfield, got it right from the jump, I love it.
I could talk to Reggie for 100 years, but I know he's got practice. I'm going, Reggie. I just want to say thank you for coming on today, man.
Oh,
Like I said, I could talk to you the rest of the day,
I got
but
about
I
10
know
more
you got
minutes if you
practice,
want it.
man.
I got about 10 more minutes if you need it. That's right. And look, I'm a Razorback through and through. I went to Murray State. I love Murray State. I'm a racer. But like Coach Ness said, we are racerbacks. So We all the above. And so, go Racers and woo pig, baby. Let's go.
Reggie, man. You're the best, Reggie. I appreciate you, man.
All right, take
My
care.
coach of the year. My coach of the year.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, man.